Welcome to Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests. And now, your host and mine, Trevor Devall.
Oh, thank you so much, France. It's so nice to have a beautiful woman do the introduction rather than just a big fat sweaty man like me. Hello, everybody. This is episode 2 of Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests. We survived the inaugural episode with Sam Vincent, which was, let's face it, a bit of a trial. But, you know, he's a good man. He made for a hell of a show. But we are now on to our second episode. For those of you who are just tuning in for the very first time, this is a show about voice actors, by voice actors, but not for voice actors. In fact, it's for you, the fans. I decided that I wanted to do a show, a little podcast for the fans, because so many times, you know, we get asked the same kind of questions at conventions and all that kind of stuff, and you guys just love to hear us go off in our little voices and tell stories, and I thought, you know what the heck, why don't we do a little podcast? Because I'm here in Vancouver with some of the finest voice talent in the world, so I have the rare and unique opportunity and privilege to bring to you this kind of thing. Anyway, I'm very happy to be in the studio today with one of the big guns, one of the big dudes in the voice world, Mr. Michael Dobson. Hello, Michael.
Does my voice really sound like this? That's so different in the shows.
Yes, that's his true voice. This is why people tune into the show, to hear little facts like that. That's really what Mike Dobson sounds like.
I'm looking forward to passing away, because that's when you get more plugins, apparently. You get, like, reverb. You get compression.
That's right.
You get all those cool things when you pass away, like, and here's your complimentary plugins. So apparently we become digital when we die.
I know. It's we both be much more successful when after we're
dead. Look at all the plugins I have. Seriously? I got. Look at this. I've got like the transmuter, and I've got. I got a warbler. Never used that before. That's cool.
So, welcome, my friend. Welcome. Oh, I better gain myself down a bit. I'm a bit hot in the microphone. There we are.
Thank you.
I thought that sounded a bit hot.
I just wondered, is the duct tape really necessary?
Yeah, I'm afraid it is. Absolutely. I need to keep you guys here somehow.
Did Sam? Oh, there. Oh, what remains?
There's the
of
remains.
Sam.
What's this pair of boots here? Oh my God, it's Sam! I recognize those boots.
Oh, dear Lord,
what have you done with Sam?
Send for help, all of you.
Thanks for coming out and doing this.
Thanks
today.
for inviting me, man. This is awesome. I think it's cool that you're doing this.
Well, I hope that the fans join you in that thought.
Shall I apologize up front? It's Michael Dobson, and I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
You're just coming from work, aren't you? You're just coming from a session, which I imagine you probably can't talk about. We can.
I know, because we're not allowed to, actually. There's some guy running around in a black suit with a white shirt and black tie going, and you're like, what's that? And then they get all disgruntled and run off because looking for refunds on pens that don't work from Hollywood. It's supposed to bite my mind, and it just, I know who you are. Damn! I just can't see very well, thanks to you.
So you just Ocean? Is that where you're coming from? Ocean Studios.
All I can say is that I'm excited about it because apparently it's going to be going to IMAX.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
I've said too much already. I don't know.
I think you have. You just made me jealous that I'm not involved.
It's partial though. I don't have anything huge in it. I wish I could. Yeah,
I know.
It's a cool component of the show. I can't say anymore. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to hearing me on like 150 speakers or something. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
That'd be cool. Back it up and play it again, okay?
Right. Yeah. There he is.
There he is.
Mike Dobson out of 150 speakers.
Yep, $15,000, and I got this remote for IMAX. Cool.
So listen, What I'd like to talk about to begin with is just a little about you.
Yes.
Imagine that.
I'm
Imagine
sorry.
that, talking about you.
I did apologize.
Oh, you're going to be fabulous. It's going to be fabulous.
My parents made me sign a disclaimer.
Now, don't say anything to embarrass us, Michael.
That's right.
I've got a whole list of some of your credits here. Actually, it goes on for 11 pages, so we're not going to get to all of them. But this is off of IMDb, of course, the Internet Movie Database.
Oh, hey.
They have entries on all of us, and a whole whack of them on you. Now, I got to tell you, I take exception to IMDb because, as we'll see, there's a mistake that they constantly make.
Oh,
which has to do with you and I.
You were telling me about that.
Yes,
that's right.
well, we're gonna get to that.
I know.
Justice.
I was never in that wardrobe.
And yet there are the pictures all over the internet.
Photoshop.
There's all kinds of cool things that you've done. You're like I said, one of the old guard, one of the big dudes.
Thanks, man.
And yeah, these are in no particular order. It's just some of the stuff that jumps out
Like
from
my
the
career.
IMDb. Yes,
No
like
particular
your
order.
career in no particular order. That's actually what this show should be called.
No particular
Career
order.
in no particular order.
That'd be kind of cool. I like it.
Puka is the first one on the list here. Now, you guys are in your second or third season
Season
of that?
2.
Season 2. How's it going?
It's cool. It's a fun show. I think
It's got a lot of good reviews and everything. People are talking.
the writing on it is awesome, and it's amazing because it's funny because like the lead characters don't have any like dialogue. They don't actually verbalize
Right.
anything. It's just all sounds, and reactions, and then it's just I don't know. It's just complete chaos all the way through. It's cool. It's kind of like Rocky and Bullwinkle meets The Simpsons or something. It's cool.
Right on.
Yeah, it's fun.
I was a little sad I never got on that show. I think I was close to being cast, but then I had to leave for New Zealand like the week you guys were going to start recording.
That's
So,
never good. Never
not-
bodes well for staying on a show.
Yeah, it has.
Hey, let's pick up with Trevor. But he's gone for like 8 months, isn't he?
Well-
We can get pickups.
he can literally phone it in. It's what we've grown accustomed to from Devall anyway, let's face it.
Right. We always joke about sometimes when you're doing stuff, it's like, it's working well in here, it's just not getting past the glass to you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good in here. At the studio.
The Condor is another one here, which is Stan Lee's show. That was one of his new shows. That and what was the other one that they're trying to Chameleon. And I know that Kirby was the lead, and it's not called Chameleon anymore though. It's called something else. We were down in Vegas with Stan for the opening of
Did
Spider-Man
Kirby play
3.
Mannequin in that one? Is that what he played?
Not Mannequin. It's like Mannequin.
It sounds like Mannequin?
It sounds like Mannequin.
don't-
Sounds like Mannequin.
Not
Smells like
Maddox.
fish.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that. You know, I can't believe I don't have the. Anyway, but you've got is the Condor down here. You did a character named Nigel Harrington. Do you remember who that was?
Yeah, it's Nigel Harrington.
Nigel Harrington.
Yes.
I think you were one of the few Canadians that actually got kept on that cast because I think what happened is that they wound up recasting a whole whack of Canadian actors. For
Really?
Yeah, I think like
How
the
did you
lead.
find? Oh, because you know Stan.
Yeah, so.
I didn't.
The,
that's flattering. That's nice.
Yeah, and I think you were one of the few that lasted because they replaced. Kirby was the lead on the Condor as well. That's Kirby Morrow for those of you who are out there in internet land.
Who's globetrotting at the moment?
Yes,
all
he
around
is.
the
He's
world,
in France at the moment, actually.
Yes, high-fiving with Michael Palin.
Yes.
Hello.
He's just looking for a balloon to take him the rest of the way around the world.
Yes. What other mode of transportation could I take?
He was.
I'm going to take the canoe across the Mojave. That's
knowing
never
Kirby,
been done.
I wouldn't be surprised, actually. I could see him actually trying that. And somehow succeeding. in a
Succeeding,
bizarre
I know.
way.
40,000 young maidens carried him across the desert. Who saw that coming?
Exactly. So yeah, anyways, so the Condor. What else we got? Oh, Les Quatre Fantastiques.
Oh,
Which, of course,
alley,
is
alley.
apparently the French version of
yeah.
Fantastic Four. It's weird that they've listed Les Quatre Fantastiques before they list the Fantastic Four. So maybe it's better in French. Who knows?
I don't know.
But
They eat better food.
Oh, they do. My question, actually, if this is a French version of the Fantastic Four, and that's the Fantastic Four animated series I'm talking about here, obviously, Do they overdub us then? Is that what happens? And if so, can we still be credited on the show in French?
Ah, curious and curious, Mr. Devall.
Well, I'm known for my probing questions. Hence this show.
Oh, well, hey, there he goes again.
That's exactly what happened to Sam.
Poor fellow was probed to death.
O-Band Star Racers, that's another one.
Oh, that was cool. I got Rick Lightning.
Rick Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt.
Lightning, that was his lesser-known sibling.
Yes,
Didn't make the shot.
He was the wacky gay neighbor. I'm Lightning.
Like, well, no.
This is cool. The Godfather game. What
That
were you
was
in that
cool.
one? What did you play in that?
Believe it or not, it was like about 11 different characters in that one.
I do believe it.
It was
I
fun.
do believe it.
But not just me. There was lots of other people who played multiple characters too. But it was I played Rocco and Mo Green from the movie, and then I played Sergeant Galtazine as this crooked cop, and that was fun because we literally worked on that for about a year and a half, like off and on. So it was kind of cool. But you shot it like a feature film because we had to do all the motion capture. So we went to Vancouver Studios where EA has its motion capture studios there.
So it was an EA game.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we went in there, and it's great because you're doing all this stuff in this virtual world. And so you do your voiceover recordings first with the facial motion capture. You start from a neutral position, and you got everything on a teleprompter. So you do your performance, but you're not allowed to move your shoulders. So it's head acting. You get in trouble for that when you normally do television. Like, hey, stop head acting. But EA likes it.
Because they're actually using your...
Yeah, because they're going to take all the... Yeah, because you got all these little beads all over your face.
Right,
yeah,
right.
And they're going to use that for all the points of reference. And then... and it's amazing because they can actually, from that, render any image that they want and make you look like anybody. But with all this stuff that went on geometrically with your face is going to be rendered into whatever your character is going to look like. So you do all that stuff first, do the voiceover stuff, and then you go to the motion capture studios where you actually wear the motion capture suit and you do all the body stuff. And then they've by this time edited all the scenes together with you and everybody else that's in the scene. And then so the scene plays out and you just kind of mime it out. It's cool. Wow,
that's really neat.
Yeah, but it's a long process, but it was cool to watch it all come together.
No kidding.
And so you got the director who was a lot of fun, who'd come running over with his laptop, and he's getting stuff like sent to his laptop as it's kind of being rendered and looking, hey, look how the scene looks now. And it was interesting too because they didn't know what platform, like what was going to be available at the time. So they're doing like Das Uber fantastic version, and then and then whatever the platform ends up being able to render, they just kind of tone it back to whatever it do. So So I said, well, how's that going to work? And he said, well, like in this shot, it says we got like 9 or 10 oranges coming out of the bag when Don Corleone is shot. And he said to save the amount of memory that this scene is going to take up when it's being rendered on his screen, he said what we can do is we can like take the number of oranges out of the shot, for example, so that we still don't lose the actual cool look of the shot, but that's how they save memory. So it's kind of, so he said maybe, if it can't render what we think it's going to be able to render, we'll just have 5 oranges instead of 11.
So the PS3 gets 9 oranges and like the Xbox gets 6.
And
then,
like, how many oranges did this thing? So you can tell if it's a good platform or not. Ask whenever you go. It says HT, how many oranges can fall out of a bag?
That's hilarious. Well, there's 9 oranges with the PS3.
That's
there's 5 with the Xbox, and for the Wii, it's a bunch of cherries that Mario's grabbing. Because everything for the Nintendo is always a Mario game, let's face it.
Now the cherries, Jerry! Cherries! All you got is cherries! They got oranges.
I remember one of my very first jobs was a video game called Sega Soccer Slam. And it was this...
Cool.
Yeah, it was a really fun game. It's a 3-on-3 soccer game with characters from all around the world. And I think, like 18 characters, something ridiculous. But they all have superpowers, and they all kick each other's ass, too, as they're trying to score.
Wow.
And I did the mocap for that. And that was really, really wild. Because I remember when I finally played the game, and I would see these characters moving and speaking, I was like, oh, I remember doing that. And suddenly, you're seeing yourself as like a 6'5" Russian dude, and then
That's how I see you, Trevor. Just wanted to say that.
Well, thanks very much, Mike. I don't really know where this interview can go from here now.
Well, not far. I'm sitting in the closet.
It's my job to put you back in
and
the
I
closet.
duct taped. not going anywhere.
It's you're the second guy to make a comment about being trapped in the closet here, because Sam last time was going on and on about
Was he really?
being handcuffed and I can't get out, and it's lies. I tell you, people,
Lies.
It's lies. It's all lies.
Yes.
This is cool. You do quite a number of video games, eh? Quite a few. We got
Yeah,
Warhammer 40,000, Dawn of War here. That was
what's funny?
it was a very popular one.
I was at Comic-Con and I saw the big Warhammer thing and I'm like, cool. So I go over and there's all these guys kind of like, and I hate to say it. Oh, okay, I'll pass this by. But anyway, this guy's standing there and I looked to him and I said, he goes, can I help you? I was like, well, actually, I just thought it was kind of cool. I said, I worked on this game. No, you didn't. I said, yeah, I did. It's Warhammer, right? Mm-hmm. I said, well, I worked on the game. What'd you do? I said, I did voices. Where? I said, Vancouver. No, you didn't. So I had, I was just picking up. They were giving it away to everybody. I just wanted some stuff, and he took it out of my hand and put it back on the table. And I'm looking at Krista, and she goes, what's going on? I said, the guy says I didn't work on the game. And it's like apparently I'm not even supposed to be around the table.
So this is, for all those people who ask us, so, when you do video game, they give you a copy of it, right? Ha ha ha, apparently not. Not only do they not give you a copy, they don't allow you anywhere near
the table. And so real sorry, I felt kind of sort of browbeaten and left and just kind of hey, I'm showing your game. I am. But you know what, that reminds me, one of the first conventions I did, I was on, because I was Cobra Commander in Spy Troopers.
Of course, yes.
And Valor versus Venom. And this guy's in this elevator with me, and he's wearing this big Cobra Commander t-shirt. So I went, I really like your shirt. The guy just looks at me maybe I farted in the elevator or something. I don't know. Just kind of stares at me. And all of a sudden he just shakes his head, and as he walks off the elevator, he goes, nice try. Perfect.
Oh, that's awesome.
I howled. It was the best moment at the con for
No
me.
kidding.
It was just so, everybody's going, oh, it'd be so funny if he gets to see you later doing a panel or something. There's that hack.
Yeah.
They infiltrated the con.
That's right.
Call security. He's up on the panel
funny.
now.
I must admit, there's an episode of Robot Chicken. I don't know if you watch Robot Chicken. It's Seth Green's show that he does with all the little...
Yeah, Seth Green's awesome, man.
Oh, he's fantastic. Yeah. And the show, I just love the show. But there's an episode where all these big bad guys are in this car trying to get to work, to the office in rush hour.
Right.
And one of them is Cobra Commander, and he's sitting in the front. And I was thinking of you the whole time, going, oh, man, that's so great.
Hilarious, man.
They did the voice was very close. It was hilarious.
Is that right?
When are we going to get to the office?
That's hilarious. See, that's him. That's what I like about him. He's just so out there. Unlike me, of course.
Alien Racers is a show you and I both worked on together.
Got to work with my brother Brian on that.
Yes, that's right. Brian was the lead dude on that.
Yeah.
That was a fun little thing.
Yeah,
Crypto the Superdog, of course. Another show. You Bulldog.
I was Bulldog, yeah.
And I was Hot Dog. We were the Dog
that was
Stars.
fun. We got
and
to work together. Yeah, we were the Dog Stars.
That was a good one.
Actually, you were fairly new into town then when we were doing...
When was it? Well, that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Because I've been at this for about
you've been at this for a long time, but I think it was one of the first things that we worked on.
Yeah, together. I think it was. Yeah, definitely. And then the Bionicle movies here, too. I see that. You were in those.
Yes, that was fun.
The Bionicles.
Bionicles. Bionicles, yes, please.
And what I'm imagining is your favorite one. You must get asked about this all the time, but yeah, the Cobra Commander thing, the G.I. Joe.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun because originally in G.I. Joe Extreme, which was my first kind of wee, awesome, fun gig. And I have a story connected to that too because it was my first big prelay that I scored.
Right.
And of course, I'll tell you that in a sec, but get back to it because Scott McNeil's involved. So, so you guys got to know about that. But but I was Sergeant Savage in G.I. Joe Extreme, so I was for the good guys. And then when they were casting for the movies, I got cast as Cobra Commander, which was also really cool because a lot of people were like, oh, well, because you were doing Starscream and Chris Latta did both. And I don't know if it was a conscious decision on anybody's part to kind of, but it was kind of cool to kind of do the same kind of sort of succession, if you will.
Neat,
of
cool.
Mr. Chris Latta. Not that I would compare myself to the man. Well, no, because he was phenomenal talent, man. And it was kind of he created those guys. He was the first guy up to bat.
Yeah.
So so I don't know if this was like in their minds when they did it, but when I went in, I really didn't want to do like what he did, because I thought, well, it's not fair. The guy's not around to defend his title, and it's kind of like that was he created those characters, and I had some creative license when I was auditioning for Starscream, because it was like 100 million years before G1,
Right.
with the Armada. So so I thought, well, I mean, 100 million years, a person can change.
The balls drop maybe a little bit.
Yeah, so I did like elements of him and sort of just like a semblance to what Lotta was doing, but kind of sort of stayed away from it. And anyway, I ended up getting cast, and then got Cobra Commander 2. But I remember like the first time that I got it, like there were some bitter people in town who were kind of like, yeah, it sounded anything like him. And to be honest, I kind of sort of just missed the Transformers thing, because I was just a little too old for that, and pretending to be far too cool. Now, like, it's like way cool. I feel like I missed out on something that was really cool.
Oh,
and I
that's
regret
hilarious.
that. But anyway, but it was but yeah, I remember people sitting there going, "Oh, so you got it?" Anyway, like, yeah. What are you doing for it? And I do it like. Just being like this glum, looking at the table, like. But he sounded like, and they would do the whole thing, and it was like. But I didn't go in there with that reference in my head, so I'm really talking far too long about
that happens. That happens a lot, where producers or something will say, "Oh no, we're looking for this particular thing," and everybody gets this thing in their idea, and then the guy who gets it is someone who's come in with a totally unique spin on it or a different take, because it's often the case, I find. Excuse me, that a lot of these producers don't really know what they want until they hear it, and they think they know. Yeah. Oh yeah, we want to recreate this character, this voice, and then we come in with something different, and they go, "Oh no, wait, yeah, that's even better."
Yeah,
So it's
because I mean, like, we've both been in situations where all of a sudden the person walks out from the back, and we're all waiting to go into audition, and there's a reference like that, like we've done all our homework.
Yeah.
And you get this thing like, I really wish I didn't write that on the script, because all we've heard all day is impersonations. We've got to stop.
What was that show where? Oh, you know what it was? It was for George of the Jungle, when we were auditioning for George of the Jungle, and originally the character that eventually Mark Oliver wound up playing, which was the Spanish-speaking sort of guy, he does this very. But originally they said we want a Spanish accent, so I got to the studio and I was prepared to do the Spanish man, the whole thing, and then they come up, okay, now you know what? Now it's not that. Now he's from the South, and now he's French, and now he's Japanese, and
you're
it's just
experimenting now, aren't you?
Oh yeah, and they
now
totally
we're in
were.
the petri dish. Thanks a lot for that.
And then, of course, in the very end,
To see
Mark
what happens. Yeah,
did the Spanish thing and got the job.
because they did want the Spanish after all.
They were just screwing with us.
Yes.
How many different accents can they do? Let's get them to play. We've got nothing better to do. Oh, that's
Of
hilarious.
course, they're expendable. They're actors.
They're actors, aren't they? And here now we come to the big thing that makes me crazy. And this is no fault of your own, incidentally.
And you know what? You can't go in there and edit your own thing.
Well, you can, but
so
it
now
only
it is my
lasts.
fault. Now you are blaming me.
Well, when I found this little mistake, I contacted
you
them
can,
immediately and said,
You can
"That's right.
fix it."
Now I've got you right where I want you. Now you will listen to my complaint."
Well, this explains the duct tape, doesn't it, Devall?
I had written to them and I said, I think there's an issue here, and they said, "Oh yeah." After I
Just like that, they wrote that?
They wrote, "Oh yeah," in that voice. Oh yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was-
yeah, yeah.
You wouldn't think they could do it, but
No,
they found
but
a
they
way.
can. This is the 21st century.
Where any jackass
There's
can
even like
say a
little
podcast.
hieroglyphics that imply that now.
That's right.
Little smiley faces with
Exactly.
pointy hats
Exactly.
and noisemakers.
The new texting revolution in communications.
That's right.
But anyway, I told them about the mistake, and they changed it, and then a week later it was back to the way it was. And what it is in X-Men Evolution, the character of Pyro, you always get credited.
I do.
as playing as playing Pyro. And I would just like you, for the record, right now on air.
What does he sound like?
Well, how would you know?
I don't.
He was,
and
I know because I played. He was a crazy Australian guy. He's even on my demo because I like the character so much. He was Pyro, like I was always right to burn down a house. That was Pyro, because when I did the audition, they said, "Yeah, we want like a combination between the Joker and the Crocodile Hunter." And so that's
interesting.
you got to be really careful when you're a supervillain.
I'm glad that a lot of these people aren't geneticists. That's good. Because there'd be a lot of, people like us Dobson brothers.
Exactly. So anyway, there it is, right there. Number 27, X-Men Evolution, as well as The Blob, which you did play.
Freddie Duke.
And there it is, Pyro John Allardyce. And yet, I would like you just to set the record straight on air right now.
Okay, man.
That you were not Pyro. That it was me. I was Pyro. It's all I have.
He's upset, and I think everybody should apologize to Trevor. And even though I wasn't responsible directly, I might have spread the rumor. But no, it's not me that plays Pyro. It is indeed the man they call Devall.
All right.
Yes, it's Trevor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
Now, let's just
I don't
hope
know why
that
they don't
anybody
remove
from...
it, though.
Well, I tried to get them to do it once and they didn't. So let's just hope that anybody
Do you have, like,
from
a loop?
IMDb is actually
Has
listening to
IMDb got
this.
you on a loop, or did you keep just popping up as a screensaver on anything?
Dobson. It's Pyro. Dobson. It's Pyro.
Little things behind your windshield wiper on your car. Pyro. Pyro. Just a little credit keeps coming up. Even on films that have nothing to do with the show.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Michael Dobson is Pyro.
So let me ask you this. Out of all... First of all, how many years have you been at this now? How many years have you been doing voice?
Full-time since 95.
Since 95. That's awesome. And out of all those shows and roles and characters, what would you say some of your favorite jobs have been, or your favorite moments, your favorite characters, that kind of thing?
Cobra Commander was one of my favorites. It's too bad I didn't get to do more of him because he was just so... like I said, he was fun to play because he was all over the map.
Right.
And characters like that are always lots of fun to play. Yeah. And especially when the studio just, whatever you do, they go like, hey, man, just go for it. It's great. And then they just keep rolling. And they're like, really? Can I really go further with this? Oh, yes, you can. So that's good to have that kind of, just that breath to be able to just go in there and just mix it up and everybody just go, woohoo. That was fun. On the other end of the spectrum, a show which was done by the producers of Ghost in the Shell, Toshi Yoshida fought for me to, well, actually not just for me, but for the entire Canadian cast, to voice Jinro.
Oh yeah, right.
And did you work on that?
No, that was actually that was before my
you
time,
were there, right?
Yeah.
You would have worked on it, Trevor.
Oh, thanks.
You would have got Pyro for sure.
As long as Pyro is
Pyro.
in every show ever written from now
Yes,
on,
Pyro.
I'll always have a job.
And Trevor Devall is Pyro.
Once again.
It's Pyro. It's on the OC? That's just weird. But there's sorry. That was cool because he was this really cool character with a very, very narrow corridor, like an emotional, as far as the emotional arc of the character, and so it was just a real challenge to play that character. So it was fun. Plus, you had the producers all there from Japan, and the end result was just really rewarding. That they were really excited about everything. But the funny part was, apparently, all the way through, they're goading me all the way through the time that we were recording the show, and hey. Hey.
Carry on. Sorry. Brief technical glitch.
Sorry about that.
High-end equipment here.
Yes. They're trying, because at the end there's a scene where Fusei has to kill this girl who is his love interest in the show, but to prove his loyalty to the Wolf Brigade, he's got to do this. And then, unbeknownst to him at the time, there's all these snipers trained on them both. They're both going to die if he doesn't pull the trigger. So, anyway, as he's struggling with his faculties and his ethical and moral judgment spinning through his head, he kind of looks up to the heavens as if to look for the answer of what he should do in that moment as he's pulling back the trigger on the gun. And it's just this really gritty, emotional, tense scene of him holding her in the rain and the gun being cocked and all this stuff. And apparently, when he bites down on his teeth and then pulls the trigger, they said that the Japanese actor got so into it that he actually broke a tooth.
Oh, wow.
So they're like, oh, he broke a tooth. And they're looking at it like, what are you going to do? So I did what any North American actor would do. I had a trick up my sleeve. Well, rather, in my pocket. so I don't know what made me think of it. I'm sitting there and all these Japanese guys are like, waiting. And I'm watching his ADR, right? So we're watching the screen. So unbeknownst to them, I had a little, a book of matches. And you know that kind of cardboard that they use?
Yeah.
Makes a really cool sound if you... in your mouth, right? So I folded up a little piece and I had it in my mouth. And then right when I did it, I slid it into my mouth and it came up with this really cool sound. And all of a sudden, I look over and it was like I scored the winning goal at the FIFA World Cup or something. Wasn't all these Japanese guys like jumping up and down and they're clapping and everything? They were like so excited.
Wow.
I was like, yes. So, of course, they had no idea how I made the sound.
Right.
I didn't reveal that until much later. But at the time, I think they were kind of like, I think maybe he break 2 teeth. Because it was a pretty awesome sound, but they used it.
Wow.
That's the sound that they used it in the film, so it was cool. They didn't have to.
It's
bully it.
that level of dedication to the craft that only masters like Michael Dobson truly can use to demonstrate how professional they are in the show.
Well, you know what's scary is that when you think about it, is like, how did I know that it would make that sound?
Well, like, that instinct, man. Instinct, man. You were born to do this stuff, man. That's the answer, man.
The scary part. How did he know?
We're gonna take a little tiny break, and we're gonna be back with Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and special guest Michael Dobson in just 1 second. Don't go away.
Can you loosen the duct tape, please?
It was a friendship. I like the way you talk.
I like the way you talk.
That became a secret. Sometimes I miss you so much I can hardly stand it.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
From director Ang Lee comes a groundbreaking story of forbidden love.
You boys sure found a funny way to make the time pass up there.
Not ha-ha funny, but funny choir.
Jake Gyllenhaal and Billy Bob Thornton in Slingback Mountain. I got a boy, 8 months old.
You stay away from that there little boy, mister.
A bold new love story about men, a mountain, and a month alone.
I was fixing to love you with this lawnmower blade. Some folks call it a Kaiser blade. I call it a sling blade.
This thing, it grabs hold of us again at the wrong place at the wrong time, and we're dead.
You art not killed my little lover. I reckon he would have had fun sometime up on Slingback.
Slingback Mountain. Going soon from a theater near you.
You're listening to Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests.
Yes, we are back with Michael Dobson. So, one of the questions I want to ask you now,
Mr. Mike,
is a question that we always get at the cons from the fans, which is, how did you get involved in this business to begin with?
I'm going to blame Scott McNeil.
Oh, my goodness.
I
Well,
am.
right to the top,
I
eh?
am Scott McNeil.
Well, you have to explain that.
Scott McNeil.
Sometimes one word will describe everything. McNeil.
Scott and I were both with the same agency in Vancouver, and Scott was doing a show called Theater of Torn Stars, and it was awesome, and he was amazing in it. He played a character called Hollywood Mike, and it just blew me away. I saw the show like 4 or 5 times.
This was a live show.
Yeah. And it was cool. There was a guy had written the book initially and actually performed it many years ago. But basically, it's a story about people recovering addicts from all different kinds of dependencies, and actually the cool thing was that the money from the performance was aiding people in shelters and things like that,
Right.
and it was very cool. So it was all for a very good cause, and again, when the play went back up, there's still money being donated to this cause, and Scott was in it, and I went with our agent to go watch him in the play, and I got to know Scott, and just socially one time we were talking, and he'd mentioned this voice thing that he was on. It was funny because I had been trying, and I had like a 2-day long demo tape that I was trying to get people to listen to. Just a couple of days and you'll get through it. You'll hear a few things I could do.
All of our first attempts are always like that, eh?
It's only an hour and a half. Come on. Why can't you sit through it? I can do everything.
I know. And I was like, Bill, I had no idea where to go. And like everybody that you talked to was like so close-lipped about it. And understandably, when I found out what everybody was making. But Scott, I ran into him up at the North Shore one time, and he remembered me from the show, and we got talking, and he said, have you ever thought about voiceover and doing something? And I said, well, actually, I've been trying to. I did like some radio stuff and everything in Victoria, and I did like sketch comedy and stuff on the radio stations there. And I said, yeah, it'd be cool. And plus my brother's saying, hey, we used to do stuff on cassettes that were just, good stuff. Okay, sure, it was mono, but hey, we were fun. But it was, so anyway, I got talking to Scotty, and then later on I found out about Sue Blue, who's a well-known director from Los Angeles and also a voice person herself. And anyway, she was up here doing a workshop. And Scott said, you should do this workshop. Like, Sue's awesome. And he'd already worked with her. So I went and took the workship. And lucky for me, as fate would have it, this is a really long answer, isn't it? Sorry.
That's all right. We have nothing but time.
Okay, thank you. She, I did her class, and then she was auditioning G.I. Joe up here. And I walked in, and she remembered me. And she went, hey, you took my class. I went, I did not. Because I was a rude actor.
I did not, you crazy woman.
I don't even want to be here. I did. Crappy show. So anyway, so no, I was pretty excited, of course, that she recognized me. And then I had a call back, and I went back, and then I got the news. And this is the story that I was going to segue to earlier. Was at the time, Scott's Mr. like successful actor guy, and I'm still like struggling, lucky to have a pager guy. And my pager goes off, and it's my agent. We both were the same agent, right? So he goes, well, phone her. And I was like looking for a payphone. He goes, no, use my phone. Oh dear. So I phoned. Congratulations, you got Sergeant Savage on G.I. Joe. Just like that. She sounded just like that. No, so, sorry.
Well, you are a professional.
I'm a professional. I'm a voice guy. You can't tell. The CIA listened to that. They wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So anyway, Scott's standing there goes, what? Because he sees the excitement on my face. And I went, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, crap. That's right. Scott, you played Sergeant Savage. I'm thinking in my mind, he was Sergeant Savage in the movie.
Oh.
And then he goes, what? And I went, I got G.I. Joe. Who'd you get? Like, I just can't say, right? And he goes, did I get anything? And I'm like, give me the phone. And as I'm passing the phone, my agent's going, Scott's with you. I said, yeah, I'm on his phone. Oh, no.
And this, of course, is before the days of call display.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So Scott grabs the phone, and as fate would have it, I mean, he ended up being on the show eventually, but in the first round, like the core casting, he didn't get cast.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But he was a trooper about it, though. Like, we're standing outside of this bar and grill, and he's going, well, dude, it's your first prelay. We got to go for a drink. And so he did, and he broke bottles over my head. Get me to lick up the glass off the floor and punch me in the throat, that sort of thing. But we got by that.
That's what he did to me, too. Some sort of McNeil initiation, I think.
I know. How do you like it now, voiceover boy?
Look at you, huh?
Hey.
You like that?
Here, Sergeant Cabbage.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I was trying to
Vegetable
find...
joke. It didn't go very
No.
far. I knew I shouldn't have paid $14.95 for that book. Vegetable humor and why people like it. Curses, another $15 wasted. Horribly wasted.
I'm trying to be funny with C-list material.
I know, that's page 23. Under C. All right, sorry.
I was trying in vain, it seems, to... I can't stop doing Stewie, by the way.
It's good, though.
It's a thing, yes.
It would be really bad if it was an awful Stewie. It didn't sound even remotely like... Kind of like Fred Flintstone with marbles in his mouth or something. That would have been bad.
I remember actually
stop.
when I thought I would get in trouble for that because me and David Kay were doing a convention a number of years ago, and we were doing a live internet radio interview. You've done these things, right, where they type in the question and it appears on the screen, and you respond to the question.
Yeah, webcast.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it called.
Well, no, because you've moved on to podcasts now.
Yes, I know. I'm really actually technically illiterate. The fact that this actually makes
I'm
it to the
surprised
air
I
at all.
remembered it. Luckily, the pharmaceuticals wore off, and it was the right time. It's the only thing that I'll be able to recall from my past. It's webcast.
But it was a good webcast, I think.
Webcast.
That's what the doctors told me.
Webcast. I said, yeah, go ahead.
What was I talking about?
I didn't know.
the web.
I just said that just to trip you up, actually.
Well, it worked.
That
Congratulations.
that was on page 73 of my vegetable jokes.
we were doing this thing, and you know how we tend to just kind of go off, and the voices. It's part of what makes the show like this so much darn fun to listen to. And for some reason, I started doing the Stewie Griffin, just for no reason at all. And right away, the screen lit up. All these people, suddenly, all these questions. Oh my God, do you do Stewie? And I was like, no, that's Seth MacFarlane. My God, who does that? But not I. So I thought I'd,
Get me Devall on the phone right now.
That's right. Let Devall. Now get him on the phone right now.
As head of Paramount.
Stealing my bit, my gig.
Actually, head of Paramount is a woman, sorry.
Oh, well, there you are.
Well, maybe really early in the morning.
So page 146
of the vegetable jokes.
So I was trying in vain to try. I tried in vain to procure a sound clip, because that's something I like to do on the show, is play a little sound clip. But I couldn't find anything, so I do have some stuff of yours that I gotta play. Yeah, but, it's really not that impressive. I mean, to you, it won't be that impressive to you because you've heard it a million times. And why have you heard it a million times? Because it's your demo.
Oh, no.
But your animation demo is pretty good.
I am working on a new one.
Oh, really? Well, I want to play this one now because I think it's pretty cool. And I want our listeners to hear some of the many voices of Mike Dobson.
Well, I did apologize before we started the show.
Please.
Okay.
You and your modesty. 1 second. Here we go. I'm going to pull it up.
Stand down, Megatron. This fight is mine. Transform!
I could be mistaken, but isn't that Latin for cheese puffs?
I am the White Knight, and you will obey me.
Oh, you silly little noddy.
You scared?
Take him to the dungeon.
It is important that you approach each fighter with respect and reverence.
Who you are doesn't matter. Your actions are what make the difference. Anyone can be a hero.
No. Forget it, Hobley. Wasn't even listening.
No. That's Jedi.
You are very right, sir.
Mister, I know my last plan didn't go that well, but I do have a new idea.
Good to see you too, Doc.
Make your way to number 41 Nugget Road. Mrs. Tittle's reported on Monster Kindergarten.
Look at I see the hot boy's head.
Just a swing transvestite from Transylvania. Oh, doggy poopy.
Zotz lives in the molten core there. His head is a giant bat skull with blood-red eyes and razor teeth to slice the flesh of those who mock him.
Gerwin's right. I've got my whole future ahead of me. There's no looking back.
Yeah, well, I pulled funnier things out of my ass. Whoa! Hi, kid!
Nice.
Thinking of the Stewie stuff, there was like, oop. I threw my own little thing at the end.
Well, we all do.
From a lesser-known show.
Lesser-known show.
What is it again? Simplins? Robertsons? I can never remember the name.
What were they called? I never remember. Our main competition. So, when did you do that? Like, how old was that demo?
Oh, that's pretty old. 97?
Oh, really?
It's about 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're working on a new one now?
Yes.
Well, it's very good.
It's about time.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, thanks, man.
I like it. It's very versatile.
Thank you, Mr. Devall.
Now, did you, were you an actor before you were a voice actor? Because this is another question we get all the time, isn't it? It's like, well, I wanted to be a voice actor, so where do I go to voice acting school? But, of course, there's no such thing as voice actor school.
No.
And I know that a lot of us started off as actors and fell into this when we kind of found our niche.
Yes.
Is that what happened with you as well, or?
Yeah, I think same as I think you theater background too, right?
Yeah.
And I started in theater at 16. I was so young then. And then I lucked out. I did theater for quite a few years in Ontario, for this theater company called New Generations Theatre Company.
And where was that?
In Brampton, Ontario.
Brampton,
Ontario. We played at the Lester B. Pearson Memorial Theatre. And I believe they're still in business if you want to check out their roster.
All right, that's a big shout out to all of our listeners from Brampton, Ontario. All right.
And then I came out here, and, well, alas, I could not afford to go to university. But I put myself through night school, and I was taking just things I was interested in, like art history and things like that. And as I was wondering about the campus, I saw this notice, and it was open auditions for the Phoenix Theatre, which is on the campus there, and for like 6 plays. So I asked if it would be okay if part-time students could audition for this as well, and they went, sure. So I did, and I rather came up looking really good. But granted, I had a lot more experience than a lot of people did because I'd been doing theater for a long time,
right?
And I actually sort of been doing a little bit of like professional shows here and there, and so I auditioned, and it turned out that they all kind of wanted me for their shows, so I got to kind of pick. I was pretty lucky.
You were a superstar.
Well, no, I just lucked out. So I was just on a roll. You know what there's days when you're just on a roll? I'm like, yes, I'm going over, and they're like, excuse me, what do you? No, I just auditioned. Would you mind auditioning? But like, oh, okay, I'll come in and audition. So I was like super actor that day.
Yeah. Somebody
had to wear the cape, so it was like. So anyway, so I went around to all of them, and they were doing like one of the people that was in the program was doing his master thesis, and he had to direct a play, and that was the one that they were throwing all the money at. So all the wardrobe and set deck and everything was all being made from scratch, and I went, I think that's the one that I want to be in. It's the big one. So and I was playing somebody in their 80s, but it was based on Sir Francis Rattenbury, who was an architect, and he came from out east and settled out west, and was an architect and did the Crystal Gardens and all around the harbor in Victoria and everything. He was responsible for a lot of the beautiful buildings down there.
Cool.
But an interesting life, and I got to play him. And so the name of the play was Molly, and then the bug was back in my veins. Despite people saying to you, well, why don't you get a real job? Acting's a good hobby. So anyway, I was torn for a lot of years, and then I ended up working with Corner Store Theatre Company there, and did a lot of fun plays with Colin Alcorn and Stephen White, and they're really brilliant, talented people, and wrote incredible material. And then I ran into a guy who was CGAVR Radio, was a creative director, and a guy called Chris Ogilvie, and another fellow by the name of Paul Bearskill. Paul's out here in Vancouver now. But anyway, long story short, because it's getting really long already, I ended up doing some radio stuff with CJVI, and then I ended up doing a bunch of other stuff. And then I thought, hey, I'm the king. I'm doing theater now, and I'm on radio. I'm going to Vancouver, to the big city. And then I'd be like, who are you again? And then I was like, it was funny because I was going from studio to studio, and all I can liken it to is Bill Bixby at the end of the Hulk, if anybody remembers back that far to that show. But the lonely piano music played like, doo 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 doo. There's like this lonely guy walking with a cassette tape in his head, and you feel like walking and going, you don't want this, do you? Without even saying anything else, because just get it over and done with. Cut to the chase. Just give yourself the rejection when you walk in the door. Why give them the pleasure of having them say it to you? When you know where it's gonna go, you just say it yourself. Yes, I'll leave now, and I'll go back the way I came in.
And that would constitute Michael Dobson's advice to all of you out there.
It was hard, and so many places you go, and then it was BLT. I went in there, and Josanne B. Lovick heard my really long demo, and she came out and said some encouraging things. And then later on, like I said, I ran into Scott, and then Sue Blue, and then before I know, but it was like off and on, like little bit things here and everything before I finally kind of was able to quit all the other horrible jobs that you have to work.
Right.
I had 4 jobs, and it was like 4 jobs, and like 4 years later, and then finally I was like full time.
Wow.
And I was so done with my horrible jobs that when I got G.I. Joe, I went, you know what? I'm going to take a leap of faith. What have I got to lose?
Except your life savings, and but you know what? That's
I
see. That's something that I totally believe in. I think that if you're gonna do it, you got to do it. You got to go the distance. You got to take the chance. I mean, you don't need to be stupid about it,
No, but I mean, at that point, it's not like I, had like an estate sitting up up on the hills or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. So
I just had an apartment. I had like hardly anything
so
to my name.
literally, what did you have to lose? You know?
Yeah, I had nothing really to lose.
Yeah.
So I had everything, and the money was pretty good. And then, as fate would have it, right after I scored that, I think like about a month or something later, I scored the voice of Leonardo in the Ninja Turtles.
Oh, that's right. That's
so
right.
then
That
I
was a
like,
big one for you.
Yeah. So I was like, well, it really looks like it's going to happen. So I bought a dog and named him Toto.
And here you are.
And
like,
here I am.
Some 13 years later, sitting in a closet, duct taped to
a chair.
to a chair.
But it's a movie director chair.
It is. So that's better than Sam had.
It's industry related.
I had him on a wooden stool with slivers in it. So you're already way better off than he was. I promise you. So if you had any advice for newcomers to the biz, people who are trying to get into the business, who love to do voiceover, or who think they might love to do voiceover, what would sort of be your top bit of advice for them?
Acting is huge. I would say but you know what? I think theater is like the best. I don't know. Some people might argue with me on that one, but I think as far as like a foundation in performing arts, like as far as an actor is concerned, theater is such a great place to come from, because you really have to kind of wear a lot of different hats and I mean you're learning blocking and learn on all these other things that technically are going to be an asset to you for on film,
right,
for on camera stuff. And it's all about voice work while you're out there on the stage, because you got to project and there's all the clarity, and then memorization of text. I mean, like all those things, it just develops you, and it really like hones your skills as an actor, and you get to use those for the rest of your life as an actor. And then I would say like improv is huge, because what we do, a lot of people can't believe that a lot of times we walk in and we're seeing the material for the very first time, and we don't get it the night before, well, a lot of the time, and you go in and you see it, and a lot of times, even when you do get the script ahead of time, you'll walk into the studio on a pre-lay gig and they go, oh, by the way, you're playing this character and this character and this character. And, oh, what would that sound like? And right then and there, you got to go boom, 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 and have stuff ready to go. And unfortunately, for the people that are new, that are coming into the business, that's what they're competing against. So when they're coming into audition, and, they're going against the people, the veterans that have been in the business for a while too. And it's sad, but the bar is where it is at right now. And really, there's enough people in the industry now that you either got to meet it or exceed it. But if you were able to do these things like prerequisite, like improv and theater, and you've got a great solid acting background, and that you can just go in and just play and know that the people on the other side of the glass are rooting for you, and that they want you to come in with ideas. And, because a lot of the time, like you said, they don't know what they're looking for. So a lot of times we forget as actors that our job is to come in and be creative and have ideas to throw at them. When they ask that question and say, any questions, you go, no, when I saw this character, this came to mind, and I thought I'd just throw that at you and see where we go from there. And they're like, good, some ideas, something cool. So not somebody's just going to like give us kind of the stuff we've been hearing all day, because from the notes that we put at the top of the script. So it's like, if you have that kind of confidence and you love this craft enough where you can't wait to go in an audition for somebody, because it's your chance to do what you love to do. And that's how you should view an audition. It's just like another chance to go and perform for somebody.
Yeah.
And I think that, with obviously a great background, and I think if they see that in somebody when they come in, I think they'll probably call you back in again and want to see you again, and it'll start things happening.
And it really is getting that first foot in the door. It really is just showing that you do have the creativity, that you've got sort of the chops, the excitement,
Yeah, and you don't always need to have like crazy range, because we know there's some people that we work with that make such a great living from that kind of one voice.
Yeah, exactly. If they can fulfill a certain type of character and they do it very, very well.
Yep.
They have
and they get used to it, and they hear it, and like we see them coming in all the time, and they're like, oh wow, what a surprise, you're playing the hero again.
Yeah, totally. I want to get to a couple questions we have for you here from our devoted listeners from across North America, which is very impressive.
Hello.
I'm very excited to see
Cool,
that we've
that's
already
cool.
had this kind of
good for you, man.
Yeah.
And like kudos to you for like show,
Well, it's all about
being
the
received
kids.
really well, Trevor.
It's all about the kids.
I
It
love
really
you.
is.
I love you.
So first of all, we've got Ray from San Francisco, one of my
Ray.
favorite cities in the world.
Yeah, beautiful place.
He asks, Mike, how many times in total did you play Cobra Commander, and what was it like when you auditioned and got the part?
I don't remember what it was like during the audition. I was ecstatic. Like, I couldn't believe it because
I would
I'd already been
imagine.
cast as Starscream, and it felt kind of like a bit of a coup, you know, to all of a sudden just go, really? History repeats itself? One guy plays both those characters again? And I was like, it was kind of like, yeah. A little dance of joy going on at home. I was really excited. And then I just had so much fun with him because he's kind of sort of like the classic villain. You know, he's just so full of himself that he just doesn't see anything coming his way. You know, it's just so hilarious. And I love the fact that I love villains that are fun like that aren't that dark, that, you know, they become sort of this really kind of exorcist, scary, kind of nasty guy.
I've played a few of those. That's my thing.
Because the funny thing is, even when you play those characters, you have to play the really dark ones. You gotta go that place. You gotta go into the area, and that's really draining and really hard. And when you come out of something like that, it kind of leaves you with a headache and pretty draining. Like, I'm gonna go home and kill myself. But it's like, hit the booze. That's it. They'll solve everything.
That always helps.
So how many times in total did you play him?
2. I did. I did a video game too, which was probably not the most exciting video game in the world because it was actually a card game, and you had to
Cobra Commander card game.
Yeah, it was Cobra versus the Joes, and like it was like, you know, like I think they were trying to jump
fish.
I know. It was like that. Snap. It was like because it was like different power plays you could do, and it was like troops versus troops. You know how these kids play these card games like
Yes.
Pokemon and Card Captor and all these.
Yeah.
And I think they were just kind of like somebody somewhere, I don't know why, but went, wait a second, let's do a G.I. Joe card game. Like, you know, or not.
Well, there we go. That makes sense.
I don't know. I think actually, I think the only saving grace was that it came free, I think, with the DVD and some box set or something.
Not that we're in any way downplaying the marketing departments of
No.
those, because, hey, I mean, they do their job.
But I didn't even see it. It would have been cool to get the cards. I would have liked it as a collector's item, but I never even saw them. And I tried, friend.
Again, they don't give us anything. They don't give us anything.
I
It's
know.
terrible.
That's the thing. I remember literally searching around, and you know, like in Walmart and Toys R Us and all these places, like trying to find. I know. There we go, product placement. But it was like trying to find like this stuff, and no.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible sometimes.
But 2 films: Spy Troops and Valor versus Venom. Those 2.
Right. I was Wild Weasel in Valor versus Venom.
Yes?
Yeah, I remember that one. That was good. Although I'm surprised they didn't give the credit to you. Sienna from Toronto.
Oh, I begged. I pleaded.
Sienna from Toronto asks,
Hi, Sienna.
Hi, Mike. I
do.
really love your work.
Thank you.
I like this question. I'm a huge fan of the Mr. Hell show, and I see by your resume that you worked on it. Who did you play, and was it as fun to record as it sounds like it was? And I got to say, I agree with that. I loved that show. That
was fun.
right before my time, too, so I never got a chance to work on it. But
It was awesome because we never knew who we were going to be playing. It was an experience because it was aptly named. because when you've got a bunch of actors and everybody's kind of like, oh, I can play that. And then you got somebody who's playing into that and it's like, who would like to play? And they throw it in there and it's like piranhas. And like one little piece of meat. And everybody loved, but it was like, but it was interesting because we all had to. I can't remember what characters I played on it because there was a few regular things on there. I can't remember now off the top of my head.
Who played Mr. Hell? Like, who was the guy?
It was Bob. What's his name? British actor. I can't remember Bob's last name, but anyway, he was from the BBC in England, and. But we played multiple characters on it, and Paul was on it too, my brother.
Yeah,
and it was awesome because like literally, you'd leave there and like, how many characters you play today? Like on the character, it'd be like P11. Which for those of you who's like, yeah, go ahead, Trevor.
It means principal 11. So basically, when we get cast, it's the type of character is based on the amount of lines that they speak, and a principal is like the biggest one. So 11 characters would be pretty impressive.
It was crazy because every episode was like that, and we'd all believe it. Like Tabitha St. Germain, who's like just unbelievably talented, and like I call her my soul sister. She's like she's
hoping to have her on the show. Actually,
she's cool. She's so much fun. But I mean, like, she like just all these characters just come out of her. I don't know, but she'd be like P36 walking out. It's like it's just crazy. But it was phenomenal. Like as far as like a money making show, and everybody, you think about it, like the whole cast, and there was probably about 10 of us. With that number of characters all in, because the show is comprised of little vignettes all the way through, right? So there's always kind of like this little cast for that thing, next thing. So I'm thinking that show must have cost a huge amount of money per episode.
No kidding.
So it's got to have been like probably the most expensive show to do that I've ever been involved with. Like,
yeah, no
per
kidding.
Episode, yeah.
I wonder if you can get that on DVD now, because I love that show. I'd love to get my hands on a copy of it. I just thought it was fantastic.
Thanks, man. It was a great idea. It was really cool. I know it was really huge in England too.
Oh, is that right?
Got well received by the BBC.
The BBC. Yeah. Well, we had one more question here, but I'm not going to get to it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. It's Rachel from Calgary wanting to know about the Bionicle movies. Maybe we can just quickly address it.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Dobson. I'm a big fan, but I've not yet had the chance to meet you at a con. I'm hoping to change that soon.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask about the Bionicle movies. My little brother collects the toys, and I really like the movies. I know that you and Mr. Devall, that would be me.
The man called Devall.
both. I know that you and him were both voices in the movies. Could you tell me about your experiences making those movies?
Yeah, the production team on Bionicle,
Yes.
they were cool people.
Yes, they were.
They were a lot of
In
fun.
fact, they were the first group that I'd ever worked with that actually sent out a copy of the movie after it was done,
yes.
and the toy.
Yes.
So I was a convert to them from that point on.
They were the first group. It's true.
Yeah.
They give us all kinds of, that was an interesting word, kinds of cool stuff.
Kinds.
Very riboflavin. But that was a cool show to work on. It was fun.
Indeed.
Right, it looked amazing too. They did a good job.
Yes. Well, I think that about wraps us up for this episode. I want to thank you, Mr. Michael Dobson, so much.
Why are the lights going out now? What's with that?
Now the terrible secret of Voiceprint.
Send help.
Thank you so much for joining me here today. It was
Thanks, Trevor.
It was the
Thanks for having me. This is a cool show, man.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, and I want to say thanks to everybody who's listening, and thanks for all their support.
Yes,
and
thank you, Ray and
guys are
Sienna
awesome.
and Rachel, and I hope to have
Awesome questions, too. Yeah.
More questions from more people all around the globe for my guests in the future. So, just a reminder that this site can be found on www.trevordevall.com, and that's Trevor Devall, one word, Devall. And you can actually subscribe to the podcast via iTunes or currently Podcast Alley. We're having some kind of weird technical issue with them, but it should be up and running soon. And also, I think we're going to go on Podcast Pickle and stuff like that. But certainly, yes, it's just all a bunch of jargon.
They must be the other people I passed in the other closet.
I don't even know what I'm saying. Somebody slipped me a note. My producer slips me a note. I know what I'm reading.
I wonder who they
So, but certainly on iTunes, if you want to subscribe, we'll have a new episode once every 2 weeks or so. Our next guest is going to be Mr. Matt Hill, which I'm very excited about. And then after that, I've got a very special episode coming up, being broadcast live from Animathon in Edmonton, and Vic Mañana is going to be my guest for that very special episode, and he is better known as Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, so that's a bit of a big deal. If you have any questions for my next guest, Matt Hill, by all means, send them to me at voiceprint@trevordevall.com. And if you have anything else you want to comment on the show or ask me a question or talk about your cat, I don't really care, whatever it is, you can send me an email at fans@trevordevall.com. Thank you all for listening. It's always a good time, and we will see you next time on Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and Guests. Take care.